Hi, everybody. Cohh here with a watch-along of the new Avowed stuff. Now, for those that don't know, I am a huge Obsidian fan and an even bigger Pillars of Eternity fan. I have seen 3 different bits of Avowed so far. The first 2 I felt did not do a good job of showing what this game is going to be doing well. However, the trailer at the most recent SGF I felt did a lot better. So what we're looking at today is a little bit of a deeper dive into Avowed, and we're going to see what it has to offer. This is my first time watching this, so we're going to see this together. Let's go.
For games in this podcast are pending.
Welcome back to the official Xbox podcast, the only podcast coming to you from inside Xbox. And all this week, we are diving deep into games you've seen at the Xbox Game Showcase. If you want to watch the other episodes, definitely check them out at youtube.com/Xbox, Spotify, or wherever you download your podcasts. And I have a very special guest co-host, I should say, with me today. The fans love her, the viewers love her. It's Tina Meany. Tina,
hello.
How are you?
I'm doing great. So excited for this kickoff of a really incredible week that you are hosting for us.
You know,
so thank you.
I'm cracking my knuckles. I'm getting ready. This is going to be a tough one, but I'm so excited. Like
a fun one.
Exactly. To your point, though, like this is going to be exciting. We just came off of the game showcase, and now, like, we're going to learn a little bit more about games, but we have a special guest with us today.
We do, and even more special guest, and one of my personal faves. It's
Carrie
Patel,
Carrie.
Game Director on Avowed. Welcome
We
back,
actually interviewed her on Drop Frames.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Oh, man, you have been to the studio several times now.
Yeah,
It is such
exactly.
a treat that you spend so much time out here with us. We had you on Extended Showcase last year. We did an interview. This was after, one of the very first forays into Avowed, so that was very exciting. And then we actually had you on this podcast with a slightly different visual design.
Yeah, the cheese set is gone.
The cheese couch is gone.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Jeff is
table.
very happy about that. We got some podcast mics now, which I'm very excited
professional.
about.
Very
Yes, but yes, you were here to go deeper into some extended gameplay following Developer Direct, which was earlier this year. Incredible show, incredible viewing from the team, and it was so fun to get this deeper dive. So now we get to do that again, but following Showcase.
That's
So
right.
man, you are spoiling us in the audience.
That's
Well,
right.
it's great to be here, and I'm definitely excited to show off what the team has been working on, and excited to take a deeper dive into story today.
Ooh, well, let's talk about that.
Perfect.
So as Tina
Okay,
mentioned,
great.
after the Developer Direct, we had
Exactly
you on
what
the
they're good at.
podcast,
I
and
like it.
I just got to make a call back. Like, that was received so well. Like, it was just great watching the comments and everyone like, makes me want to play the game. And so kudos to you and the team. I'm curious from your perspective and the team's perspective, since then, what's been going on? Like, I'm sure as you get closer to release date, like a lot of things are coming into play.
I'm curious
So tell us
what
a bit
they
about
think
that
of the
time.
reception of the trailer.
Yeah, it's a really exciting part of the development process because you've got so much that's so far along, your content, your gameplay, your systems, and you're really just, investing those final touches, that final layer of polish, like pushing everything to be as good as it possibly can, trying to make smart decisions, not crazy ones. But yeah, it was great to see the reception after Developer Direct. One of the things that I know folks called out that we spent a lot of additional time on was refining that sense of hitting, which we're going to see some of in our footage today.
Good.
So yeah, it's really just taking everything that's almost there and pushing it over the finish line and really getting to
Did I
turn
see the
this
leaked
into the
release
game that
date?
we
I
all
did.
on the team want to play as well.
Yeah, and I just want to build off of that a little bit because we were talking about you before you all came. We were talking behind your back, but in a good
Only
way.
good things.
But like, I feel like to your point, Obsidian has this je ne sais quoi. This is to use my little French that I know very little. Of,
It was that one statement. That was it.
yeah, that's really all I know. But no, it's like this something special that you all have where not only do you have the community aspect who love games, Grounded, Pentiment, all these great games, but also just the team, like the cohesiveness. I got to visit the studio a little bit late last year, and just walking through the office, it was very evident why your games always come together and are just so great. It's just because you have that cohesive unit. So it's great that time that you've spent since then has been used just like polishing the game, like you said, and making it awesome. So I'm excited. To play it a little
big
bit
time.
Later.
Oh yeah, me too. But before we jump into the deeper dive gameplay, do you want to just set up for us both what Avowed is, just in case anyone out there doesn't know, but also
Pentiment
what we
was
just
awesome.
saw at the Xbox
I like
Game Showcase with the new trailer?
Pentiment.
Sure. So Avowed is an upcoming fantasy action RPG. For players who are familiar with the Pillars of Eternity games, this takes place in the same universe, but it is not a sequel. The style of gameplay is obviously very different. The cast of characters is mostly different, but we'll get to that. But yeah, it's basically
Mostly.
just bringing our players to the world of Aora with a really immersive, action-forward, really fun, fresh take on the Pillars world. And from the trailer we just saw now, we've met a few of our key characters. So part of what we wanted to do with this trailer is really set up for the player the world you're stepping into and the role you're stepping into, and also the choice that's in front of you for how you want to inhabit and live out that role in the game. So the very first voice that we hear from at the beginning of the trailer is the Emperor of Adir, your boss essentially. He's sending you to the Living Lands to get to the bottom of this soul plague called the Dream Scourge, find out what's causing it, and find a way to stop it. The next person we hear from is Inquisitor Ludwine, who I'm very excited to have playing such a big part in Avowed. Players from Deadfire might remember her as a side character in one of our very interesting side quests, but in Avowed she's pretty central. And her whole belief is that the Dream Scourge is really just symptomatic of larger problems, a larger sense of chaos and disunity and destructiveness at the heart of the Living Lands. And in the world of Pillars of Eternity, souls and essence, which is the stuff of souls, it manifests physically. And so she might be onto something. And then the very last
happens
person we hear
after
from
the
is
end of
Giada,
2,
who's one of the
right?
companions that we'll meet in our journey. And she's taking a different perspective. She's saying this chaos is part of who we are. It's part of what makes the Living Lands special.
So I wonder what ending
Don't
they're
try
going
to
to go
tame
with.
it. Don't try to end it.
Because
Embrace
there's a
it
lot of
and
different
cherish
endings
it
to that game.
and kind of nurture and tend to it. So again, what that really sets up for the player is this is a
Hey,
big
Charlie.
world. It's got adventure and danger, and it's also got a lot of choices to make. And it's going to be up to you to decide, what it means to be the envoy of Adir in the Living Lands and what it means to set
it's all on
things right in
YouTube.
this place.
Every reason
Yes,
for
to
Avowed is
that
better
kind
on
of like
YouTube.
obsidian formula, that
100%.
player choice,
stinks,
and
but it's just
some
that's
of
how it
that
is.
moral intrigue too. Like, what decisions are you going to make in a moment by moment?
Yeah, and I think that's what players, as you said, like that's what players really want. Like they want to feel like they have some agency. They are going to be able to interpret the story that you all build and kind of act on that. And so, but let's get into the gameplay, because just like a little bit after Developer Direct, you've brought some new gameplay for us to watch. And so let's check some of this out. Tell us a bit about what we're seeing here.
So we're going to start out in Emerald Stair, which is one of the regions you'll get to explore over the course of the game. We're not too far along, but we have here a lovely nighttime scene. I think this region in particular looks fantastic at night. Not
Very
only because,
stunning.
Yeah, thank you. And here we have some Sporlings attacking Yahtzee, who is going to be one of our other companions.
Oh, that's interesting.
And you were charging up like your bow and arrow there,
Wait, what is
and then
this?
you're
What is this
also kind of
flashing?
trying to slice your way through what looks like some very thick top heavy
Is that
Sporling
their
armor
hit
here.
flinch?
And you're right, we are struggling a little bit.
Yeah, they're giving you a run for your money here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
We'll,
like,
we'll fix that. So
Okay.
part of the problem is we've just transitioned out of an earlier region, and so we haven't upgraded our gear yet. So if we look like we're struggling against these little mushroom guys, it's because we haven't upgraded our weapons so that they're really up to par with the enemies we're going to face here. So there's a lot of hacking and whacking, but we'll fix that in short order.
Oh, fantastic. People, I was about to lose my wits. You wouldn't happen to have a ladder on hand, would you?
So this is still fairly early into the game too, the setting of Emerald Stair.
Yeah.
nice. And then we have Yahtzee.
Yeah, she's a wizard. She's very
Yahtzee.
fun. She's she's a
name.
little risque in a way that I think is makes her a lot of fun to talk to. She's got some very good banters with the other companions.
Skill stuff.
But yeah, she's just
Nice.
She's just a little lightning
Good.
ball of a lot of personality.
Yeah.
And
you
so
see the options here, by the way.
I
Also,
saw what you said.
one of the great things
Okay.
about your game is, of course, dialogue options. Tell us a little bit about how that's playing here.
She's a little risque in a way that I think is makes her a lot of fun to talk.
If you're trying to flatter me, it's working. It's true. You should touch my abdominal muscles. They ripple. Oh. Okay. So is that the one we picked?
To. She's got some very good banters with the other
Are you
companions.
flirting with me?
But yeah, she's just
If you keep encouraging her, she's going to climb you. Oh.
she's just a little
Okay.
lightning
Careful.
ball of a lot of
Darling, I already have a lover. A good one. Skilled with his hands.
personality.
great.
Yeah.
And
you
so,
see the options
yeah.
here,
Okay.
by the way. Also, one of the great things about your game is, of course, dialogue options. Tell us a little bit about how that's playing here.
So wait,
So you noticed with
Larian went the bear route. What is this? What is that thing? Are they going the Orlin route? Is that what it is? I just connected the dots that this is the same race as the little double pistol user mental dude from 2. Oh my god. That is so wow. Funny enough, I thought they were all tiny like him. Huh. Okay. Cool. Anyway.
With a couple of
Yeah,
those,
we may have to
had a
replay
little
2 now.
symbol at the front of those options.
Especially
so
okay.
This is an obsidian.
Well, hold on. Well, actually, I wasn't planning on playing PoE 1 and 2 before this. But if they announce that characters from those games are in this, let's keep watching.
Game. Some of the options
may have to
available to
rethink
you
this.
are dictated by choices you make at character creation, choices you make as you level up your character.
Cool.
So some of them are tied to specific attributes.
Great.
Some of them are tied to specific backgrounds that you
Great.
choose at the beginning of the game. And a lot of those will really, in different cases, either add some different flavor or personality or possibly a different outcome to that conversation.
Cool.
Here we're really getting to know her as a character. And so, we're just kind of choosing the tonal direction of this conversation.
Yeah,
She's a little,
She says you're tall,
I like
striking,
that too.
and well-toned.
It is like she's flirting with us.
She
So
is.
what would happen if we pass the conversation check for the flirtation option, which I assume is this first one?
Yeah. Well, you'll have to see in a bit, but
you go.
but yeah, if you flirt with Yatsley, she will flirt back.
She
as we're
seems
about
like
to
a
see.
flirtatious type.
If you keep encouraging her,
Oh.
she's going to climb you.
Careful, darling. I already have a lover. A good one. Skilled with his hands. He always carries a ladder.
She rebuked me.
Oh no. Well, you know what? Maybe we keep trying. But
Dialogue
no.
check.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, like visually speaking, like I think this is the first time you all are also showing like gameplay at night, right?
Yeah, so we do have a dynamic time of day, and
okay.
yeah,
I
our
didn't think I knew
environments.
that. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, have some very lovely looks at different times of day. We've definitely shown a lot of daytime footage. We've shown some golden hour footage, but again, Emerald Stair looks really stunning at night.
Yeah.
It's very colorful, very lush. We've got all the fungi, and
I
then
like the
one
loot
thing we're
log
going
in
to
the
see as we
bottom-
come over
bottom
the
right.
hill here is
Solid.
all of this equipment that the animancers
Wow.
of the town of Fior have
Whoa,
made. So
hold up.
animancing the fungi, and then one thing we're going to see as we come over the hill here is all of this equipment.
Dude, look at all that. Look at all that. Is that like all area we can go in down there? That's pretty awesome.
That the animancers of the town of Fior have
Okay.
made. And so
There we
animancy
go.
in the world of Pillars of Eternity is basically soul science. It's about studying and manipulating the essence that makes up souls and the essence that is ambient in the ether.
Quite controversial in the world.
Yes, it is, which is something we get into in this region. But
this is
yeah, so
pretty.
this is a little enclave of animancers who are kind of free
I really like how far you can see in the back. That actually has like scale. As she goes down this, you can kind of, I like that a lot.
to study, outside of the, the watchful eye of any
Wow.
larger authority here in the Living Lands. But yeah, what it means aesthetically is they have this really lovely equipment with this wonderful purple glow that just looks great at this time of evening.
Yeah,
Very pretty.
100%.
These are the guys made Outer Worlds.
They
Yep.
are also impacted by by the Dream Scourge as well.
They
this
are,
area.
yes. They've discovered something wrong in the ether, and
Guardian.
you're coming here to sort of see what the animancers have figured out.
All right, and now I'm looking at this. It looks like we're heading into the party camp. Can you tell us a little bit about what this area is and its significance for the player?
Oh, it's the
Yeah,
base.
so Party Camp
Yeah.
is one of my favorite spaces in the game. It's both your narrative hub and also your upgrade hub. We can see here, I'll just
Third
call out.
person, yeah.
Yes, we do have
Yeah.
third person. A lot of the footage we're going to see today is in first person, but we do have a third person option for players
Oh.
who prefer it. But yeah, in Party Camp, that's
Okay.
where you'll get to know your companions better. You can
First and
kind of
third
get to know
person.
their backstories and sort of, get to know them better as individuals. You can also hear them getting to know one another through their banters at camp, which is always super fun to eavesdrop on. And it's also where we can upgrade our gear. So we've got our
Hold up, dude. Hold up. Okay, so we've got an inner rarity upgrade system. We've got a quality rarity system. We've got a comparison. Oh, no, this is the upgrade. So current and then upgrade result. So this is being upgraded. You can see the upgrades there. Looks like there's an effect on it. Looks like there's gem slots or something similar. Cool. Okay. Okay. Ooh, up to legendary. Damn. All right. All right. Cool.
our party stash where we can stow a lot of extra equipment. We've got our upgrade screens, and here's where we're taking some of our older gear that we picked up in the previous region, and we're going to upgrade it so that we're better equipped to fight the enemies here. taking some of our older gear
Stun. Huh. So it's like a key stat of every weapon type?
that we picked up in
Ability cooldown, or ability costs and cooldowns on Grimoires.
the previous.
Yep, pretty normal there. Core. Oh, it's not a gem, it's a core. So I guess we have to... I don't know what that is. We'll have to see.
Region, and we're gonna.
So wearing armor reduces your stamina and your magic. Okay.
Upgrade it so that we're better equipped to fight the enemies here.
Yeah.
Yes. Borlings.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we're coming back.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
gonna be way better. But I want to touch back on what you said around the banter around with your companions. I've always found that like in those kind of camp areas in games just in general, like that's where I love.
Yeah.
And I love that you all are including banter between the other
Companions as well,
companions
yeah.
because that makes it feel more alive. Like you're just listening to the banter. But is there conflict between some of the companions?
Yeah, they
their
have different
dynamics?
takes on the
Yeah.
Dream Scourge and like what you should do with it. yeah.
Exactly. So what can we expect to hear when we're listening, eavesdropping in on the banter?
So you'll hear a lot of different things. One thing we really wanted to create with Party Camp was this sense that, you're adventuring and exploring together through this big wilderness, all of these different landscapes. And Party Camp is this quiet space where you can all kind of huddle together, share a moment of respite, and, the pace and the tone of everything is a lot slower and quieter. So some of the banter is going to be kind of quirky and fun as these characters get to know each other and kind of dig into their different personalities, their different eccentricities. Some of it's going to be a little more somber as they, kind of reflect on different events that y'all have seen, different things y'all have gone through together. And then, yes, as you get to harder decisions in the game, there
Got that
are going
last
to be
line. You
moments
guys see
of
that too?
conflict where they disagree on what the right course forward is, or they disagree on maybe actions.
When's
that
this
you've
come out?
taken up to
Later
point,
this
and they're
year.
kind of hashing it out with one another.
The release
So
date
it's-
was late,
it's
but
really
I'm not
just where
going to
these
talk about it
characters
during
get
this.
to come
Yeah.
to life
It was a
lot
leak,
more.
unfortunately.
So you're going to be judged the whole time.
Good.
No.
Because I'm a controversial king. We're going to be
But it will be later
making
this
some
year.
controversial decisions, so I love to see that.
I love that kind of banter too because I know in my heart the decisions I want to make, but absolutely the more connected I get to certain companions or characters, they can totally influence by their judgment,
that's
their
a good point.
cool judgment. Yeah, so I'll
Yeah.
sometimes, start to actually take that into account. I love the party camp moments, sitting by a campfire, and certainly getting stronger.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
my understanding is we're picking up some, not just upgrading some of our weapons, but also picking up some new skills, which you
Damage and carry weight for strength, might. Health and poison bleed for con. Attack speed and action speed for dex. Oh, max range. That's interesting. Huh. Second wind cooldown. So everyone will have second wind? If it's like the previous games, I think it's just like a minor heal you can throw on yourself. Noble Scion background. Nice.
can do in this party camp kind of downtime.
Action speed is a
too.
turn-based? No, I think it's probably
so you
cooldown
can
reduction.
upgrade your skills and
Yeah,
abilities
cooldown reduction is a
anywhere
better way
as
to
you
say it.
level up throughout the course of the game. That's one of the things we're doing right now. So on certain level up
Hmm. Looks pretty basic. We only have one level 15 fighter skill? Like an ultimate or something? Maybe they'll explain it.
milestones, we'll get to upgrade our attributes, which we just did, and on every level up milestone, we'll get to pick a new ability. So
Lord, hold
in
up.
this playthrough, it
Slow
seems like we've
down.
got a
Slow it
we'll get to
down.
pick
All right, hold on. We got minor missiles.
a new ability.
Decrease the essence penalty for light and medium armor by 15. Oh, that's cool. Okay. And that's like for a wizard. Oh, interesting. All right. Man, a lot of these are passive. What's the max level in this game? Is 15 the max level? Did they mention anything about level? Summon a blade of ice that blasts forward, dealing frost damage and accumulation.
So
It's a cone of fire in front of the caster, causing fire damage to anyone in the area of effect.
in this
I mean, they
playthrough, it
definitely
seems like
you
we've got
can
a couple points
definitely
sitting
be a
in
mage in this
reserve,
game.
so
Like,
we're spending
hardcore,
these
Zeke's
on
gonna be
different
thrilled.
abilities in our different trees. And one of the really fun things about the way these are set up is you can really mix and match freely between them. So if you want to be all wizard, you can, build entirely throughout that skill tree. If you want to mix and match, make a battle mage, or make, someone who can be a little stealthy in certain moments and a little more aggressive in others, you have a lot of freedom to do that.
Sounds like me. I like that one. I'll
Yeah.
take that one.
Yeah.
So we've seen a lot of Tanglefoot in previous trailers, and I think we just unlocked Fan of Flames, which will help us get through these brambles, right? So we're not only stronger, but now we can actually progress in the environment in Emerald Stair with a little bit more skills at our hands.
Yeah, we wanted to try to, as much as possible, give the different abilities that players can pick up. Obviously solutions in combat, but also solutions in exploration. And so, there's almost always more than one way through a particular barrier, but you'll have, weapons, your own abilities, spells, weapon enchantments, sometimes even your companions who can, use their environmental abilities to help you get through barriers like that as you build the character you want to play.
Okay, so now that we're coming out of the camp, we've upgraded our equipment, we've upgraded our swords, so theoretically these guys should be easier now.
Yes, and you'll notice it's taking fewer hits to bring him down. Yep, they
Get
go
outta here.
flying.
Look at him, he barely stood a chance.
Yes, we've got some nice blood effects as we're slicing through them.
Yeah, so is that like new animation as well? New sound effects and animation as you're kind of upgrading your swords and other items?
Yeah, we want to make sure that players are getting clear feedback
the
as to
sword
when their gear is effective and
doing
when
that
maybe
'cause
they
it's
need to go
enchanted?
back to camp. So it looks, it feels, it sounds
And the
different
FOV
when
is
you're playing
terrible.
with appropriately leveled gear.
And this guy's a
Yeah.
little different looking. What's his
Yeah.
deal?
Little spikes.
So this is a caster. So, all of our enemy families will have different unit types among them. And we've seen a lot of these little melee spoilings who just run at us. And it's very cute, actually. It's one of our favorite little animations on the team. But you also have these caster units that can obviously attack you from a distance, do quite a bit more damage.
Almost guarantee it has an
and we have
FOV
a few
slider.
other unit
Yes.
types who we haven't met yet, but we're going to try to take this guy out because
I think all of Obsidian's other games have FOV sliders.
Yeah, taking a
So it'd be
few more
really
hits
weird if
than-
this one
than
didn't.
them.
So when you build up enough stun on an enemy, you can kind of queue up an attack like that does a lot of extra damage and will also, if it doesn't take them out
Dagger system.
outright, it'll at least give you some distance from them. So those are great to get if you can.
Nice, and a little bit more traversal here, which I love to see. Adds that verticality that we love. That allows players to, I guess, discover new things in the game and maybe some hidden things.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a very fun mechanic to be able to build content around because, like you said, you can really reward your curious players by hiding a lot of secrets, a lot of fun, a lot of storytelling, and nooks and crannies.
There is
throughout
third
the
person.
levels.
Yep, they
And
said
we
that at
did
the
just
beginning.
pick up that godless vase, so
Yes.
we've got our item that Yatsley's been asking us for.
Yes.
So can you remind us too, as we're looks like we're approaching her now,
Wait.
actually. So what we're kind
Secrets, a lot of fun.
Did she just
of
pick
got
up an
our
herb?
item
She
that
did.
Yatsley's been asking
Cool.
us for.
Okay, good.
So can you remind us too, as we're looks like we're approaching her now, actually. So what we're kind of exchanging here.
Yeah, so Yatsley is a scholar of the godless, and the godless are the ancient people who used to inhabit the living lands. They have been gone for many, 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 many years, but we see their ruins throughout the different regions of the living lands. So Yatsley studies them. They are called the godless because they are not recognized as worshipping in their art any of the gods of Aora that people know of. So she wanted this artifact as part of her studies. So even without a ladder,
Oh,
we
now
were able to
that's
fetch it for
interesting.
her.
Oh, and we just saw a quick flash of ourselves,
Yeah.
actually. And we are, actually, if you could explain to, because
godlike?
we are godlike.
We are godlike.
We are almost the opposite of Yatsley in that way.
Yes.
So what does that mean in the world of like the universe in general?
What's her face? She's a godlike.
And why
So
we
that's
look
an
at
element
the
of her
look here.
god.
Sure.
Looks
So
like
in the
a
world of Pillars of
aquatic
Eternity, a godlike is a member of any kith species whose soul has been touched in some way by one of the gods. You can play as a godlike in Pillars 1 or Deadfire. In Avowed, you are definitely a godlike. And being a godlike will manifest in a number of different ways, but one of them is you usually have a unique physical appearance that manifests in
like a
some
huge
way on
decision
your
in the
face
other two
and or
games.
head. Now with Avowed, you can choose exactly what that manifestation looks like. This lichen-like growth is one of your options, but you will have some that are a lot bigger and more dramatic, and you'll also
what
have
you
some
look
that are
like
a lot
is
subtler.
dependent on what God
but either
chooses you.
way, you have a connection to
They
one of
look
the
totally
gods.
different.
The thing that's unique about you is you don't know which one. And most godlikes of Aora, it's very well well known, which god they share a lineage with. For you, it is a
Whoa,
mystery.
wait,
and
what?
That's one of the things you'll get to explore in your journey.
You're
as we
godlike
talk
for a
about.
god no one
Yeah, and I
knows
love
about?
the customization because I think just generally speaking, people love
Oh,
to customize
that's
the character they want. So
cool.
maybe again,
That's
like you go a little
awesome.
bit more obvious
A
here.
god
maybe
is
you go a
putting
little subtle.
godlikes into the
Are
world
we
and
gonna
no
see,
one
like,
knows who it
players
is.
or not players, but like other people in the world like reacting to sort of your godlike appearance?
You will, because
I
it is
like
it is
that.
very unique.
What's a godlike?
And
A
there aren't many
godlike is
godlikes
a
left in the
human
world of Aora.
that a
So,
god
you are
chooses
double
to be like an
unique in this
avatar.
case.
Not of them, but it's like
I'm gonna be
if
showing
God
it off, be
touches
like,
them.
yeah.
They usually have more
godlike.
powers. They're
Alright.
infused with
So
their
treat me as
god's
such.
powers, stuff like
Well,
that.
so some people think that's very cool.
Kinda like
Some people
Asimars.
think it's very spooky.
From,
So different cultures and
Pathfinder.
individuals have different ways of relating to godlike.
I'm sorry, not
so
a Kith is
you
any
might get
race.
some-
Yeah, not
you'll get a number of
humanoid.
reactions.
Just any race.
And that's the
really,
thing is that
can be
godlikes
godlike.
are quite rare, so they
Yes.
are kind of intrigued by
Godlikes
it
are
when they
really
see
rare.
you and they recognize that you are different.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Now Yahtzee is sending us somewhere else, right?
So we've gotten her.
Hold on. Brello Beg says, she says that you don't know which god, not that it was an unknown god. I will say this, though. In the previous 2 games, you immediately knew exactly what god a godlike was, because the godlikes all inhabit powers of their god. So it's very obvious. So if you're a godlike and no one around you and you don't know what you are, nobody does. Because it like the fire god, like your head's on fire. The water guy, you're like super watery. Like, it's not, there's not like, they're not like hit, there's no, it's very obvious. It's never obscured. Because if anything, the god is choosing to display themselves in that person. So this is a very, very cool idea, especially for those like me who have played through 200 hours of lore where the Pantheon was very, very fixed. Like the gods were, that was it. That was how the world existed. So this whole thing where it's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a god no one knows about, and he's just making godlikes. It's like, I'm sorry, what? Like that? Excuse me? It's kind of casual to rewrite like, what?
Vase.
So yeah,
she's going to return to her
I'm
studies.
at this point
she will join
incredibly
our party
interested
at some
in the story.
point, but not
Okay.
right away.
Because that's one of the things I loved that aspect
So
of
this
the
is a
original.
quest
So the
that
fact that
takes
they're
place
using that
along
for the main story of this
path
game,
Emerald
that's
Stair,
awesome.
So you can tell we're still in the
great.
same overall region. So we're working with one of the animancers in the town of Fior.
Dude, that's-
and
I was
he's
gonna
gonna
watch
help
this
us try-
specifically
he's gonna
to
try to help
see
us diagnose what's
if
going
I
on
would
with
like
the
the
living
story.
lands. But in order to do that,
And I now
he
like
needs
the
the heart
story.
of an Odragon. And an Odragon is essentially
That's
a nymph
awesome.
with
I
sort of
wanna-
the
I
skin
wanna
and
know where this goes
appearance
now.
of Adra. And he
Now I
needs
just need to hope the
the
story's
heart
good.
for the essence that it contains.
No, that's great. This
So
is a great start.
he sent us into this glade to
And I'm
go
sorry.
retrieve this heart.
I was talking
Players
over this.
or-
I want to
or
hear all
not
this again.
players,
I'm
but,
sorry.
like, other
I'm
people
sorry,
in
you
the
two.
world like reacting to sort of your godlike appearance.
You will, because it is very unique, and there aren't many godlikes left in the world of Aora. So you're doubly unique in this case.
There aren't many godlikes left in Aora? Holy shit, did we stop the wheel at the end of 2? Is that the ending they picked? Oh, no. Dude, if that's every ending, yeah, but they're pretty different. So, is that a spoiler? Not really, because there's lots of... You know at the very beginning of... This is one... Okay, real quick. This has always been a problem for 2. And that's because you know at the very beginning of 2 exactly what the entire game is. And I've hated that. I hate that about 2. You literally, at the very beginning of the game, it's like, okay, big god going to stop the wheel. We better do something. And the whole game is just following him around until you get to the wheel. Main story Pillars of 2 sucks. One of the worst in any CRPGs. Rest of the game was great. I loved it. But like the main story of 2, you always knew what was going on. There were barely any twists and turns. You're literally just following a guy that's walking slowly around. I mean, I was, the side quests in that game were phenomenal, but the main quest to me was like one of the most like straightforward story. They told it very well, but there was nothing interesting. It just like, it only gets kind of like a little interesting as they get towards the end and you actually get to talk to him and meet him. But like when you look at the story of PoE 2, and then you put it in parallel with the story of PoE 1, and you think about like the amount of narrative events that happen and twists and turns and where you go and who's involved. It's like two different sides of a planet. So that was the main issue I had with 2. We went from like this incredible main story to like this total like straightforward kind of snorefest, and it was like, ugh. I'm being careful to bash the main story of 2 because the mechanics in PoE 2 are incredible. The side questing is awesome. The voice acting is amazing. The world is incredibly cool. Like, don't get me wrong, PoE 2, I liked it. It's good, but the main story still sucked. You can still like the game and not like a part of it. But yeah. That's big. So what we just learned is there's a very good chance that at the end of 2, that actually happened. And the interesting thing is that has huge connotations for the world. Massive connotation. If that process actually stopped, then, well, I mean, if I talk too much about this, I do get really into spoilers. But the point is that this is huge.
Yes.
Like,
Oh, nice.
Oh.
I'm gonna
like
be
the
showing
end
it up
of
and be like,
Inquisition's
yeah.
DLC
Oh my God,
big in
like,
terms of what
right?
the world is
So treat me as
Yeah.
such.
going through.
Well, so some people think that's very cool. Some people think it's very spooky. So, you know, different cultures and individuals have different ways of relating to godlike. So you'll get a number of reactions.
And that's the thing, is that godlikes are quite rare, so they
Yes.
are kind of intrigued by it when they see you and they recognize that you are different.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Now Yahtzee is sending us somewhere else, right?
So we've gotten her vase. She's going to return to her studies. She will join our party at some point, but not
okay.
right away.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a quest that takes place along the Crit Path and Emerald Stair. So you can tell we're still in the same overall region. So we're working with one of the animancers in the town of Fior, and he's going to help us He's going to try to help us diagnose what's going on with the living lands. But in order to do that, he needs the heart of an Odragon. And an Odragon is essentially a nymph with, you know, sort of the skin and appearance of Audra.
Okay.
And he needs, you know, the heart for the essence that it contains. So he's sent us into this glade to go retrieve this heart. This glade is inhabited by a bunch of Delamgon, who, as you can see, are a lot more dangerous and a lot more aggressive than the Spoilings we encountered. You know, Delamgon in the World of Pillars are fairly territorial, so we're kind of bringing this on ourselves. He did warn us that they wouldn't take kindly to us just marching through their territory, and we might have an easier time of it if we can avoid conflict, but conflict's also fun, so in this case, we're just, you know, swinging our sword and going on in.
And you're right about them being a little bit harder to take down. We are definitely
rough
having
with
to
this FOV.
utilize everything in our
I feel like this
arsenal
would be
here to
presenting
take
so
them
much
down.
better in
Yes,
higher
yes,
FOV.
and you're seeing a few different unit types here. We've also got casters. These have some very long...
The part that's most concerning is there are 2 things that you really need to have FOV be a problem. And that is obviously the normal zoomed in. That's your classic FOV. But the other thing is extraneous non-natural movement. So like when you swing, the head does this. Where it's like, that would never happen. You don't turn your head like this when you swing. That doesn't happen. But the fact that it's tunnel visioned means that we're covering so much more distance than we ever naturally would in such a faster way. And for a lot of people, they're like, whoa. Like, no. Like, this is not okay. Like any movement stuff, not okay. So I'm looking at this back here. I'm looking at this guy's swing. Like look at this.
Yes, yes, and you're seeing a few different unit types here. We've also got casters. These have some very long kind of whippy arms that they can get us at a medium
Like,
distance with. And
Every time he was
area of
swinging,
effect
like you're
attack.
seeing all this
But they do
extraneous.
eventually
Like,
go
that's
down,
like
but
that's
like
what's
you
going to
said,
mess
it
with
takes more
people.
work.
That's what's going to mess with people.
Now we're approaching.
They
what I'm
really need to
assuming
zoom this
is
out
a very
or
special
kinda
character. Can you tell us a
Calm
little
down
bit
on that
about?
a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, so this is the Delamgon Queen. She has the Odragon heart, and I'm sure she'll be super cool with how we just
Yeah,
mowed through her
I mean,
followers. What could go wrong?
We had to do what we had to do, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
third
She's
person
queen
may be a
of
lot
no
better. I
one
want to see
now.
third person.
That's right. We'll take everyone out, right? Oh, let's see what she says.
Uh-oh, but wait, no.
Yep, she can sense what we've done, and she's not happy about it.
Oh, so we-
many of my kin are dead by your hand.
That's fun because they said earlier they could have stealthed in, but combat's more fun, and now they got here and she's super pissed. I like that.
The time for words has passed.
It's a good thing we like fighting because we're gonna fight some more now.
Yeah.
Yep. Hello.
The backup forces have arrived, and now we're in trouble. But we're gonna leave that.
We like fighting because we're gonna fight some more now.
Yeah.
Yep. Hello.
The backup forces have arrived, and now we're
Been
we're
like
in
no
trouble.
music at all.
But we're gonna leave that a little mystery, right? I'm assuming.
Feels a little
I don't want to
Yes,
give
yes.
everything away. So what are we looking at here? This is us kind of respecing kind of how our character plays, right?
Yes.
A little mystery, right? I'm assuming. I
Yes.
don't want to give
yes.
everything away. So what?
Increase damage with one-handed melee weapons by 40%? Dang. Okay. 25, 40, and then 50.
What are we looking at here?
Nope. Hold on.
Yeah, we're in trouble. But we're gonna leave that a little mystery, right? I'm assuming. I
Yes.
don't want to give
yes.
everything away. So what are we looking at here?
Time a perfect block against a melee attack to knock the enemy back and gain an immediate counter. Unlock parry for the first rank. Increase parry effectiveness by dealing greater stun, and then even more. I'm really hoping that some of these rank 3s get more interesting. It's very, like, all this stuff is just kind of...
Here, this is us kind of respecing
I wonder if
how our
anything-
character plays.
Oh, here, okay, so like, this is more interesting. Vines deal poison acclamation. Okay. Increase vine duration, maybe?
Right?
Yes. So if you
Power attacks with daggers, swords, and spears deal extra damage.
find that you want to
Phase into the beyond, becoming invisible and intangible and draining mana until your next combat or movement action. Rank 2, while invisible, gain increased stealth attack damage and movement speed. And then rank 3, yeah, see, that's cool. Okay, that stuff's cool.
try out a new suite of abilities, if you want to approach a particular piece of content like this one in a different way, you can respec. And you might have seen
I missed one, but that's okay. It's just dodge.
popping up at the beginning of the screen here. There is a cost to doing so, but
Okay.
if you're willing to pay it, you can try out a whole new set of abilities. So what we're doing now is we're speccing into a lot of ranger related abilities, and I think a couple wizard ones as well. So the most important one of these is Shadowing Beyond, which is a level 5 ranger ability. And what that does is it gives us the ability to essentially kind of open up a rift in the here, which is the physical world, and travel through the beyond, which is kind of the invisible spiritual world, in order to move through the environment. So what this means is that as long as we don't engage them, these characters can't see us. And as long as we keep our essence meter up, this ability will remain active. So
Yo, is there a
this one is
backstab in this
constantly
game?
draining our essence, which is
Can
the
I, like,
soul energy
do
that
this
we use to
behind somebody,
power our special
backstab them, and then
abilities
jump
and
into
our
the beyond
spells.
again?
You can see we're passing some cover grass
How
as
scary
well.
would
so
that
if we
be?
wanted to be a little more
Some
conservative
dude
with
just
our
warps
power
out of nowhere,
usage,
stabs some
we
dude in the
could
back,
duck into that
disappears,
grass, kinda
pops
watch
up behind
the
someone else,
controls,
stabs him in the
and
back,
avoid
disappears.
using this ability quite as much. But in
I'd
this
just
case,
run.
we're going to use it to get to this little safe nook right here.
So if you're an expert stealther, you
Cohh
could
pretending isn't gonna be a
possibly
stealth
do this
archer?
section in
I think I wanna do
stealth
melee in
without
this game.
that ability.
Just
If you're
with the
good,
grass,
just
just
yeah.
sneaking
cover of the
around.
grass,
Challenge
yeah.
accepted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and here we're re-upping on our potions so that
Yeah,
we can
health
build up
and
that
essence.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, we're going to continue, and we've
No
also found a
buff-
little side route
buffs on the
here. So
screen?
again, we
Wait,
like
wait,
to
wait.
offer different ways
Was
for
she-
players
were they
to appeal. And
replenishing
we've also
or
found a little
buffing?
side route here. So
Anyway.
again, we like to offer different ways for players to approach our content, especially big potential fights like the one kind of in the glade here. So this is a little side path that
Just
you can see
replenishing.
still has some enemies in it, but for a player who's very careful and either willing to use that cover grass or willing and able to use Shadowing Beyond, they can get through without causing a ruckus.
So if you fight this sporling, will the others be alerted to it, or could you get away with like one kill and then?
It depends how close they are. So they do have a shout radius, but
Mm-hmm.
it is not infinite. So if there isn't anyone close by, and if you're pretty fast, you might be able to get away.
Yeah,
but
like
you can
that.
see there's
Oh,
one
yeah.
right
Yeah.
there. So
You never know who's hiding in
Exactly.
a little nook.
Right?
Exactly.
I'll kick that one off the cliff. Probably. Just like get out of here. But I'm excited to see players how they tackle it because I'm sure they're going to.
That's an interesting question. I wonder if you can do that.
at all, and like really.
I
like,
wonder
wanna
if there's
show
like
their
a.
mastery
I think
of
there
that
is. I
stealth
think they
aspect.
talked about that.
And so here we are.
Oh,
heading-
It's always a trade-off, right?
It
You
is.
know, do you want to loot all the dead bodies, or
Right.
do you want to take the
That's a good
peaceful
point.
path and possibly open up some other dialogue options, which tends to be how I play.
Ah,
this is the stealth version.
a welcome visitor. It has been so long since one of your kind has walked in this grove.
in this case, the Delamgon Queen has recognized that
They
we
f-
haven't
they should definitely add
killed
some
all of her
reverb and stuff to her
followers. And
voice.
so there's a little more of an opportunity to talk with her. She recognizes that we are godlike. She might even recognize what kind of godlike we are. But yeah, in this case, she will give us the heart willingly.
Drizzle
and
Sticks,
she'll
that's
allow us to
exactly what I
play
thought.
peacefully
Exactly. Yeah.
because we chose.
And she's quite an ancient being, so there's a lot that she knows. You mentioned that she might even know where we come from.
She might, yeah. Of course,
maybe
the
pitch it
thing
down a
is,
little bit or something?
Delamgon
I don't know.
are, they're, like you said, they're very ancient.
It's always weird to me when like
they're not really
completely
part of the kid's
non-human
society,
characters
so,
sound exactly like
it's
a
hard
person.
to get too
that always
many
just
straight answers
completely
out of them
removes me from the
sometimes.
situation.
Yeah, there were some
yeah.
vagaries in there, but enough
Yeah.
to kind of pique our interest.
But then she gave you the heart and she said, take it and go in peace.
Yeah.
And there
Exactly.
you go.
We came in peace and we left in peace. Look
Boom.
at that.
Peace.
better.
Rules.
Much better.
Sometimes.
Well, I think that's all the gameplay that you and the team brought out here today. Thank you again so much. It's been so insightful and such a fun opportunity to walk through it all step by step with you.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about it a little bit after the developer direct, but like the trailers that you all make are always so great. But then getting to like talk to you and see what the team has built and deliver especially for the Xbox podcast is always great to see and dive deeper into those details, dialogue options, how you tackle a game, like all those things are so important for us to see, like how we're going to be playing the game
Yeah,
when it
so much
releases.
detail and intricacies. But
Yeah.
is there anything else that you want to leave the audience off with before we sign off on this episode?
Oh, we never.
Well, really excited for players to experience this game for themselves.
We never heard about
again,
the
team's
characters.
been working really hard to just really put the rest of the experience together, get it all polished, get it across the finish line, and we're all really stoked to see how players fill that player-shaped hole at the middle of our game, and what kind of role they choose for their envoy, and how they choose to solve the conundrums in the Living Lands.
Us too.
I know, cannot wait. Carrie, thank you so much for stopping by. Please give the team our best and excited to see the game a little bit later on. And with that, that wraps up today's Avowed episode of the official Xbox podcast. But of course, we've got a lot of others. Very
I
special
was just typing
episodes for you to
my tweet because I told someone I would tweet after this. Checked out the Avowed the Game deep dive. I'm feeling much better about the game as a long-term Pillars of Eternity fan. The story actually sounds pretty great. Still think the combat can use tweaking. I'm not a fan of the flashing, but feeling better about it. Also, please FOV slider. I really hope. Okay. Great. All right. Cool. Yeah, no, that was good. That was good. I will say that I think I like how in the trailer and now in the thing here, I feel like they're doing a much better job showing what this game is really going to be about. Like, I really like the fact that they showed the two different sides of that quest. I love that they were focusing on the like the scenes and all the little features I think are going to make it special. Combat and ability system, I mean,
check out later.
a big part of me really wanted Pillars of Eternity as an immersive first-person or third-person sim. And I realized I'm not going to get that because they're just completely different. I have to say though, I'm a little disappointed how simplistic it looks. But I do have to say that I don't really care if the story and characters are good enough. Like, as long as they really nail, like the thing that thing showed me is that I like the vibe, I like the tone, I like the graphics, I really liked some of the setting. There was enough in there where I think it's like cool. I think this is going to be good. But yeah, the combat, I'm a little concerned that combat is going to be like you just pick one or two things to do and then make those really good and then like that's it. Like that's the whole combat. That's it. It didn't look like you had a lot of tools at your disposal. It didn't look like there was a lot of variance in what you were doing. But here, the thing is that that brings me back. I'm kind of cyclically going around the circle. Like, does it need to be as a first-person immersive sim that's super story-based and designed to deliver like a big immersive thing? Like, did it need to be super complex? I do wish that it was more complex personally, but I'm not sure if I don't know. But how complex was the combat in Kingdom Come? Kingdom Come's combat is amazing because their combat system is directional, which adds an entire different level to it. So when you're talking about combat systems, I mean, like KCD it's messy, like Zevran just said, love the name, but it's a much more deep attempt at something more immersive. I would say, yeah. But that being said, of course, you're talking about that system prioritizes like physical movements and Twitch gameplay, where the Avowed combat is very much dictated by presetting your abilities and your build, and then utilizing that in combat. So it's kind of a different feel. One is far more like, I would say, Twitch based, and when I say Twitch, I mean like Twitch gameplay, not Twitch the website. So yeah, but yeah, I'm it's the kind of situation where I want to play that story, man. I want to play that story. And I'm feeling very much at this point where it's like, yeah, I want to play that. Like I want to know how the world is. I want to know what that god is. I want to know what happened. Like lots and lots of questions that I think is good. Because when you have questions, that means you want to play for the answers. If you're interested in the questions, which I am. That's the big thing. I wanted to know if I would come away from that interested in the questions it was asking, and I can say that I am, and